And off he went. I'm going to Walter Reed to get my physical, says President Biden, and he has departed. Bill?
So we will find out more on that visit.
Now, only now, according to Bloomberg and Newsweek, by the way, I could not access the full Bloomberg article because, of course, you've got to pay to see some of these. But don't worry, we'll be expanding really soon when it comes to our overall news sources as far as what you can read and what you cannot read, because obviously some news organizations are a little bit more public, where some are a little bit more private as far as their articles are concerned. So now, only now, do the majority of Americans suddenly want a border wall. I wonder why that right there would be the case. Now, guys, this video here for the most part is going to be hinging really on the Laken Riley situation because, of course, there's been a lot of developments that have occurred, especially given the fact that now the city of Athens, Georgia, especially now given the fact that the mayor, Democrat, very much in favor of sanctuary cities, has finally came out and spoken. And, of course, I'm showing you guys a couple of tweets, one of these from in Wokeness, and another one here that show you that people were, let's just say that they were shouting him down. Let's roll this.
Track with either of those. And so that term means different things to different people depending on the context of the discussion.
We know what it means.
Many of the elements.
Liar.
Many of the elements.
Liar. Liar. Liar.
We are here to listen.
Liar. You're a liar.
We are here to listen.
Liar.
There'll be time for questions.
You are guilty and got blood on your hands for this murder, sir.
Many of the aspects that are ascribed to sanctuary cities.
We know what sanctuary.
Well, why in the world would these people shout him down and tell him to resign? Well,
In the main, I caution against conflating immigration and crime. The data demonstrates that the two are not connected. Because the impact of federal immigration policy on localities has been under such consistent discussion in recent months, I do want to say a few words about this. It's my 18th year as a local government policymaker.
I just wonder how those people voted in 2020. I just wonder, because of all the virtue signaling about evil orange man and evil white racists, now they're finding out that, well, we were right. About immigration, about crime, all that type of good stuff, et cetera. So, you know, the crap that we warned liberals about, but of course, because these people live in their own little world and don't listen, and now that their own little world has been wrecked, it's really and truly sad to me to see that this right here is what it takes to wake these people up. As I've always said before, the best way to red pill somebody on the left, just simply give them what the hell they vote for, because of stupid crap like that there. Now, before we talk about this issue, I want you to know something right now. This video right here, which by the way is going to obviously be a lengthy one, was originally designed to talk about why it is that it's actually the left or it's the Democrat or the Democrat voter that is suddenly black pill, but we will cover that probably in the second video tomorrow. I'm still trying to gather a little bit more information to kind of clamp down on why it is that is the case. It's mostly a theory, but don't worry, we will get there. Also, something else too in this video, I'm going to go ahead and try to lay out the schedule of videos for the rest of the week. Even though I'm doing this video on Wednesday and it will be released on Thursday, I think I've got pretty much all I need for this topic here. So here's the thing. Obviously, people who live in Athens, Georgia, where the University of Georgia is located at, are obviously not okay with the sanctuary city policy. They're obviously not okay with the fact that migrants are coming across the border. Obviously, a lot of people, and of course, I just showed you that poll, of which, by the way, was conducted by Monmouth University, which means it's probably about 5 or 6 points off. They're not exactly known for being accurate, especially when it comes to presidential elections. They always find a way to oversample Democrats, but if this right here is the case, then that means that 53%, which is what was cited in that poll, is probably a lot smaller. It's probably closer to 60, 65, somewhere in between, somewhere in there. By the way, I did have this guy come in my comment section the other day and say that this was actually Trump's fault for everything, but here's the thing. The thing that he cited was the immigration deal that got blown up. Now, guys, I covered that in a couple of other videos and why it was that entire line was absolutely stupid, because the bill that was being proposed by Senator James Lankford, who I coincidentally called him Ray Lankford like an idiot, still hinged on the fact that 6,000 migrants were going to be coming in a week. It was actually a bad deal, so just go ahead and miss me with that crap. But let me go ahead and say one more thing, too. before we go into the actual details of what was said and all the detailed arguments and all the detailed debate topics that you could throw out there, all the little counterpoints you could throw out there, let me say this. The argument immediately falls apart the minute you ask them a very, very simple question. Who's on watch? Who's on watch? Who's been on watch since January the 20th, 2021? This guy here that I'm showing you. This guy here who's going to go get a physical. Very, very interesting timing that he's going to go get a physical the day after the Michigan primary, where it is that about 15% of Michigan voters, mostly Muslim, by the way, voted uncommitted to a tune of over 100,000 votes. Funny, too, especially given the fact that their goal was 10,000 votes. I think it's pretty obvious that Biden's going to be hurting in the state of Michigan this election. But we will save that for the next video, because the next video is why I'm going to explain to you why it is that Democrats or Democrat voters are completely black-pilled about the situation. We'll get there. The point is this right here. And by the way, they tried to use the same exact argument on me when it came to the disastrous Afghanistan pullout. Well, this right here is Trump's fault because of the deal he made. Okay, who's on watch? Who had been on watch for 8 months? Who was the one that made the decision to shut down Bagram Air Base? Who was the one who made the decision to shut down one of the air bases when both air bases need to be open? Like I said, very, very simple answer to these people's points. Just simply ask them who the hell is on watch. And not to get too much on a tangent, but this exact same argument or this exact same saying that I would use is exactly what I would use in college between 2011 and 2013. Anytime Obama people wanted to blame Bush for what was going on with the current economy. The guy had been out of office for over 3 years. Obama had been president for 3 years, and he kept on extending the quote-unquote Bush tax cuts, while at the same time saying that tax cuts for the wealthy, trickle-down economics does not work. But yet he kept on extending the tax cuts during a bad economy, completely destroying his own political narrative. I just figured I'd point that out. Like I said, didn't want to go too far on a tangent, but here we are. So what are the developments on the Laken Riley situation? Well, let's take a look.
Fox 5's Kim Leffler joins us now from Athens with today's developments. Kim, what is the latest?
Well, arrest warrants for Jose Antonio Ibarra are giving more insight into how 22-year-old Lakin Riley died. Now, this comes as the Athens Clark County District Attorney has brought on a special prosecutor for her case. We do want to warn you, some of these details you're about to hear may be disturbing. Arrest warrants for Jose Antonio Ibarra provide more insight into the death of 22-year-old Augusta University nursing student Lakin Riley. The warrants say Riley was killed between the hours of 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. on February 22nd at the intramural fields on UGA's campus. They state Ibarra used an object to strike her head. ISIS confirmed Ibarra entered the country illegally in 2022 and was released on parole. ICE says he was arrested again in New York in 2023 for a motor vehicle violation and acting in a manner to injure a child, but was released before a detainer could be issued. Discussion around Ibarra's immigration status has sparked fear among UGA's Hispanic community, noting an increase in anti-immigrant rhetoric.
A lot of us who are afraid to really stand up and just really help each other out, because out of fear. In my program, we had a situation in which someone made that comment, and I'd had to bring it up to head of department's attention.
Florencio continues to encourage the community to come together as the school begins to move forward.
Really just a call for unity, solidarity, rather than just making it more about political aspects. It's just more about standing together, standing strong.
Meanwhile, Athens Clark County District Attorney Deborah Gonzalez will bring in Special Prosecutor Sheila Ross to try Riley's case. According to a biography from the Chief Justice's Commission on Professionalism, Ross has assisted prosecutors across the state with murder and death penalty prosecutions and tried dozens of complex murder cases. Riley's funeral is currently scheduled for 2 p.m. on Friday.
People are obviously afraid to speak out about it. People are obviously afraid to call things out for what it is. So it doesn't surprise me that Monmouth University, a polling company that quite frankly is notorious for oversampling Democrats, suddenly says, well, 53% of the American people suddenly want a border. It's probably closer to 60 to 65%. Not exactly a good sign for the current regime. But of course, we shouldn't be talking about politics here. We really, truly should not be. We should be talking about the situation at hand, which is the sanctuary cities and the policies of these sanctuary cities. And of course, it's making people now want the wall because they find out exactly what's inside those sanctuary cities. Now, guys, let me go ahead and say this before we go any further. I have to apologize to you guys very quickly. because obviously there's something that I have neglected to mention. It's because that I, quite frankly, didn't know this until I actually looked in. Or maybe I knew this 2 or 3 years ago and just simply forgot to mention it. And for that, I apologize. Obviously, I got something wrong. Because the truth be told about everything I've been saying about sanctuary cities, while it's true, it's actually much, much worse, as you guys will see here in a second. The thing about sanctuary cities is that the people who go to these sanctuary cities, and I quite frankly forgot to mention this, and like I said, I apologize, but I'm mentioning it to you now, and you'll see right here in a second, is that these sanctuary cities, ever since roughly the 1980s, they've got it kind of written into their own little city laws, their own little ordinances that the FBI cannot have access to information on these illegals, at least coming from the city itself, meaning that any crimes that occur in the cities from illegal migrants, and like I said, I apologize for not telling you this earlier because like an idiot, I completely goofed it. Here to kind of to eat a little bit of crow here. These cities don't have to report the data. They don't have to report this person's information, which obviously makes things a lot harder, which is also a bit of a theme for this video, because trust me, when we get towards the end, you'll see exactly how bad the migrant crisis is actually clogging things up. But the thing about the Laken Riley situation, a lot like the Kate Steinle situation that occurred back in 2014, 2015 timeframe, is that people are starting to wake up to the fact that they are not safe. Also, something else too, in that little bit that I showed you from Fox out of Athens, Georgia, or Fox in Georgia, the New York Post was reporting that one of the criminologists, one of the people who were actually looking into the case, they believe that Laken Riley may have actually been forced to fight this guy off, meaning that this guy attacked her, could not get a hold of her, and then finally lost it, then bludgeoned her to death. Now, I mentioned in the previous video on this that bludgeoning someone to death, which, by the way, is what Ted Bundy used to do to his female victims, which is pretty much all his victims were females that we know of. That right there is a sign of extreme, intense hatred. This guy right here, of course, according, and this is just speculation, it looks like he may have jumped her while she was running, got her on the ground, could not get full control of her. She probably fought back. Thank God the girl was at least trying to fight back and stay alive, because there's a lot of people out there who won't fight back. God rest her soul. And of course, he eventually got frustrated with the fact that he could not get the target. His innocent, small, little prey on the ground, he could not control her. She fought back, and then he ultimately decided to bludgeon her to death. That right there is the information that's coming out, where it's being speculation at this moment in time. Still, at the same time, though, the sanctuary city policy has obviously got to go. And, of course, some people are finally waking up to this.
Georgia that actually might have ties back to our area. Police there in the state have arrested a Venezuelan migrant for the murder of a University College student.
He was previously arrested here in New York, raising concerns about why he was set free. Robert Moses, are we really raising concerns about that? Isn't that the way it works here?
Well, Roseanne and Kurt, first of all, he was charged with non-bail eligible offenses, but even that's beside the point, because given that New York is a sanctuary city, the police department would not have told the feds about his arrest. So here we are. Laken Riley was a Dean's List student who went out for a run on Thursday and never came back. Her death is renewing calls to fix the crisis at the border.
Now, in the previous video on this topic, I talked about New York City letting him go. He had been arrested. He was in the process of being processed in. And, of course, the New York City District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, chose to let him go, citing a complete lack of prisoner space. But, of course, this situation gets a lot worse. I mean, it actually gets way worse when you actually find out the real reasons why it is that this guy was even in Georgia. And we'll get to this here in a second. But before I get to that, I want to go ahead and say this. You see, it's not just the fact that these people are clogging up the system, the fact that they're being let go. It's also the fact that many of these people are, in fact, actually scamming us.
It's to work. And I came to vacation. Look at the difference. She is the one that maintains me. That is why I don't work, because the government gives her what belongs to her, to my daughter, for being an American citizen. Capiche? I have no need to work because, well, guys like few of you, this little princess, for being American, already receives a lot of money. Capiche? The trick is to have children in the United States. Here is the gold mine. The gold mine.
That right there is just two or one person who posted 2 videos of how it is they plan to scam the system. This is one of the reasons why it is that when Donald Trump mentioned the, let's just say the AB phrase, which I can't use or else YouTube will remove me from this platform, that he's actually, he was not lying. See, a lot of these people, not all, but a good portion of them are coming over, having babies, and then using the fact that they had a baby here in the United States as an excuse to say, well, you can't deport me, I got to stay. And of course, because we don't enforce the laws in the books and because they're allowed to do this, which by the way, we need to automatically change, so that way this fire cannot happen. This is how they actually stay in the United States. They're doing everything they can to do to actually scam us, and not only are they scamming us, but are also committing crimes, like attacking young girls inside of a park outside of the university where she goes to run every day. People aren't safe. People can't feel safe. And obviously, due to the fact that the University of Georgia has this policy that says you cannot own a firearm, and of course, universities at large have this policy, meaning that people have got to hide them. And of course, as somebody who works in the university town, who worked as a gun salesman in the university town, which by the way, also went to the same university that I went to, didn't stay in the dorms, but talk to students all the time about this case, about crime and stuff. Yes, you would want to make sure that your daughter or even your son is in fact armed. But still, at the same time, as you guys can obviously see, they're not here to be law-abiding citizens. A good portion of them are just simply here to have kids and scam the freaking system. So therefore, the law obviously needs to be changed as far as having children here in the United States. This right here should not be some golden rule that says because you had a child here in the U.S. that you're allowed to stay. No. If you're illegal, you need to go. But back to what New York ultimately found.
Customs enforcement confirms to Fox News that the NYPD arrested 26-year-old Jose Antonio Ibarra in September and charged him with acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17 and a motor vehicle license violation. 1 year earlier, Ibarra, a Venezuelan national, had illegally entered the U.S. near El Paso. Last week, police arrested him for the murder of Laken Riley, a 22-year-old nursing student at Augusta University. She was found dead near a lake on the campus of the University of Georgia, where she had previously attended. Ibarra appeared in court on Saturday, but he was not seen on camera. A judge denied his bond. Ibarra's wife told the New York Post that she and Ibarra married so they could join their asylum cases. I have a lot of faith that this wasn't him, that there was a misunderstanding somewhere, she told the paper. But if he did, he has to pay for what he did.
Join asylum cases with his wife. So his wife is an illegal and she's scamming the system too. Oh, by the way, too, if you're married, I got to ask the question, why is he even pursuing this young girl? Just why? I'm pretty sure some more information will be coming out about that, but let's watch some more.
To pay for what he did, truly. Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp laid the blame for the border crisis at President Joe Biden's feet.
This is an issue that the president can take action on. And I know he's trying to blame, inaction in Congress. That is passing the buck. We know that there's things that he can do.
Back here in the city, police say they are looking for at least 16 more people in connection with the stabbing in Times Square Thursday of a 17-year-old who is believed to be a migrant from Nicaragua. The NYPD released these images of outstanding suspects. 6 people have already been arrested for their roles in the stabbing. Police say the suspects punched and kicked the victim and stabbed him in the back. He was taken to Bellevue Hospital in stable condition. Police say the suspects were last seen entering the Times Square subway station.
Governor Brian Kemp, you are partially responsible for this too. You could legislate out the sanctuary city status the exact same way that you could stop this whole fiasco that's going on in Fulton County with Fannie Willis. You could have stopped this a long time ago, but obviously you're about as useless as tits on the board. So do us all a favor and shut up. The point is this right here. This guy should not have been here. The illegals that have been coming across, they should not be here. We're finding out that a lot of these people are in fact attached to Venezuelan gangs. A lot of these people are foreign nationals that are coming from China. A lot of these people are foreign nationals that are coming from all over South America, countries that quite frankly, some of them do hate us. Obviously, Argentina has Javier Milei, and I'm guessing that Argentina does not hate the U.S., but still I think Argentina is a special case. Brazil, I'm not here to talk about the people of Brazil, and I'm not here to blast the people of Venezuela or Colombia or anybody from South America. But obviously, those who are coming across this border from Mexico, South America, Central America, and of course, to go on top of this, China and the Middle East are obviously not here to be law-abiding citizens. They are here to simply do what? collect the $10,000 that they get from mayors like Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson and the Biden administration. Of course, people are talking about the work visa issue, which will probably be a separate video, probably be rolled into my massive immigration video, which I hope to have out in April. But also to go on top of this right here, the other problem that you've got is obviously the fact that now we're finding out that a lot of them just come over here so that way they can have children and then scam the taxpayer and the system. But New York City Mayor Eric Adams, he's finally woken up to the realization
that people were using the paper plates, doing robberies, taking the plates off, and it's difficult. They're ghost plates. We found that some of the mopeds were being used for crime, snatch and grab, stick-ups. It became a real problem. So the chief and his team focused on those illegal bikes, those mopeds, those paper plates, and that is what the real outcome has been. Many of them we found drugs in cars, guns in cars. They were being used to commit the crime. Now, the overwhelming number of migrants and asylum seekers that are here, they want to work. I still don't understand why the federal government is not allowing them to work. They need to have the right to work, like all of us that have come to this country had the ability to do so. But those small numbers that are committing crimes, we need to modify the sanctuary city law that if you commit a felony, a violent act, we should be able to turn you over to ICE and have you deported. It is a right to live in this city, and you should be not committing crimes in our city for doing so. Right now, we don't have the authority to do so.
It's obviously a lot worse than that there, E, but still at the same time, you, sir, are not a good mayor. It's like I've been saying for a while. I've been trying to figure out who was worse, Eric Adams or Bill de Blasio. If you are from New York or you're a New York City resident, please comment in the comment section. I would love to get your thoughts on this. But let's watch a little more.
Saying he supports working with federal immigration officials.
It marks a major shift in policy. CBS News' Christina Fan joins us live from City Hall with the latest on this story. Christina.
Mary and Chris, good morning. The mayor is calling for more cooperation between federal immigration authorities as well as local police. He argues that current policies are too detrimental to public safety. In a series of recent statements, the mayor expressed he is willing to permit local law enforcement to work more openly with ICE to deport migrants who are suspected of serious crimes. Current laws prohibit the city from cooperating with ICE if a foreign national has been charged with a crime but not convicted. His comments follow several high-profile crimes in which the alleged suspects are recently arrived asylum seekers. The incidents include a recent shooting of a tourist inside a Times Square clothing store and a group assault on 2 NYPD cops.
The sanctuary city stuff has got to go. Okay, you've got people who are basically saying, look, we can take advantage of this because the city itself won't report our crime, or the city itself won't give the FBI the information that, quite frankly, would have me locked up. That's the real truth about the sanctuary cities. And by the way, that right there is the real evil of the sanctuary cities. So not only are you breaking the law by getting over to the United States illegally, you're also committing crimes in the city, and the city is actually protecting you for the crimes that you're committing, while also at the exact same time completely screwing the resident and the resident's family. It really and truly is evil. The subway attack, and then, of course, the Times Square attack, and then now you've got this other attack that happened. These right here should have been, this right here is just, let's just put it this way here. These right here were red flags. These right here were things that, quite frankly, guys like myself and many others have been warning about for a very long time. And when the weather gets hotter, it's obviously going to get a lot worse. Let me put it this way here. You've already got this issue where you've got people of color, black people in particular, who are upset about the fact that migrants are getting benefits that these people are not getting. As I've said in multiple videos, these should be hands up and not handouts. They see this and it breeds massive amounts of jealousy amongst these communities. It breeds massive amounts of jealousy amongst the people itself. They get a lot of discontent. Next thing you know, street fights eventually break out. But of course, we've been talking about Randall Island. We've been talking about other instances where they've attacked police officers, where they've been attacking one another. And of course, now you've got metal detectors being installed in some of these places, which, by the way, I don't think is really going to solve a lot of anything, because if two people want to slug it out over something, or if two people want to kill each other, guess what? They're going to do it whether they have a weapon or not. Fact of the matter is that a border wall should be built at this moment in time, and a border wall should be up. But at the same time, though, I am going to leave you guys with something towards the end of the video that will not surprise me if it actually happens, because I know the MO of the Democratic Party. Fact of the matter is that the people right now in this country already know that this process has gotten to the point where it's completely out of hand. Even a good portion of those who voted for this crap are now throwing their hands up saying, we screwed up, put Trump back in office. Fact of the matter is that the border wall should have been built a long time ago, and not just for us. It should have been built for Mexico too. I'll leave this video here from Razor Fist in the description box. It's an extremely good explanation of why Mexico needs the wall just as, if not more than us. And with everything that's happened this week, let me go ahead and tell you something right now, okay? And I quite frankly, it pains me to say this, but it needs to be said. One of the MOs of the Democratic Party, or at least the Obama version of the Democratic Party, which is exactly what we're going through, is the Obama third term, is the fact that these people love to screw something up. They love to make something a lot worse than what it already is, and they love to turn right back around, fix it partially, turn right back around after that, put a spin on it, and say that they fixed the problem. They did this back in 2012 when the price of gas was at like $2.75, close to $3 a gallon. Next thing you know, we get closer to election day, the price of gas is down to $2.30, and they say, look, the price of gas is coming down. The reason why they do this is because they prey on people's emotions. They prey on people's inability to think. They prey on people's inability to critically think. This is what these people do. They prey on the lack of brain power of certain voters. It just so happens to be that those who are classically liberal tend to be much, much more open and much, much more open to people coming in. The problem is that at some point in time, their openness ends up getting everybody else hurt or possibly killed. Liberalism is, in fact, a mental disorder, and you are seeing it on full display. With that right there being said, guys, please tell me what you think in the comment section. This video is probably going to be, it's going to be the second video. It's going to be the first video that's released on Thursday. There's going to be another video talking about black pills, or talking about why is the Democratic Party maybe black pilled, or the Democratic voter is. That video will be the second video of the day to come out tomorrow. We're going to have a video out on the cell phone attack thing, because now that I've got some time to actually look into it, I can actually get that out. Hopefully, we'll have 3 to 4 videos out before Saturday. Of course, the schedule's kind of changing, where I hope to have like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday be the days where I have more than one video come out, roughly 2 to 3, and then one video out that's relatively large on Tuesday and Thursday. The idea is eventually to shift into that Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday time frame with the longer videos that are more essay form or talking about a topic that, quite frankly, does in fact deal with society. Those videos, we're going to go ahead and try to start that starting next month. But of course, the videos like this right will still obviously exist. It just will be a little bit less. But still, though, at the same time, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.